you guys, it's Karen, and I thought I would come and do this kind of chatty lockdown tag video. And this came about because my husband and I were discussing the whole lockdown thing, and I was saying, what's your favourite thing about it and what's your least favourite? And I said, oh, I could do this as a tag, because that's the thing about this social distancing. We don't really know what everybody's going through in their individual households. So that's why I thought this would be interesting. I'd love to know what's happening with you guys, and thought some of you may be interested what my situation is. This is a nice easy video for me to do that doesn't require any preparation, because I've been doing a video every few days, and I know that you guys have appreciated that. But I was thinking to myself, like, how have I managed to do that? Because actually we have less time. Kev's working from home, but he's working longer hours, so I'm doing more of the cooking. We have to do the groceries and actually go to the shop, and of course there's long queues a lot of the time. We used to do it online. We've got Watson at home, so we need to walk him. So I was like, I don't know what's happening. But what I forgot about was there's been a couple of technical changes in that I got a new computer just before lockdown, and that has been just a godsend, because now things are saving very easily. I'm not losing as much footage, so you know, once I do it, it's there and I can use it. So I think that's one of the things. But also, I guess we don't have, or haven't had until yesterday, all the appointments that we had before. There was a lot of vet appointments. I was, you know, had a lot of hospital and GP appointments and things, and of course none of that is happening. So it's been a few days now since you've seen a video, because my Watson's been ill, but I'll tell you about that as we go through. But I've got one other video that I filmed, and I don't know whether you'll have seen it yet by the time this goes up, or whether I'll just stick this one up first. And it's comparing the two hot brushes, the Revlon hot brush versus my beloved Babyliss. So anyway, there's 12 questions that I jotted down, and I did them like with my husband. When I said that, I was like, right, what do you think? What would you like to know about people? So the first one is straightforward. It's who are you in lockdown with, and who are you seeing during lockdown? So for me, I'm in lockdown with my husband Kev and my dog Watson, and that's it. That's the only people in our household. I have seen my dad and his wife, but only in the kind of foyer of he's in an apartment block that is sheltered housing, so you know, where they've got the emergency buttons and whatnot. It's for the elderly. So I've been doing his groceries. That's something else that's taken up time. So of course, when I take the groceries over, what I do is phone him, and he comes out and into the sort of foyer area, and I put the bags down, and that's as much as I've seen of him. So not very much, you know, very brief, because it's normally early in the morning and he's still sleepy and whatnot, you know. The other people I'm seeing I see my neighbours a lot, because we often, you know, like I've got two neighbours on my floor that you'll see like coming out of your door, and although we're obviously trying to stay the 2 meters apart, we're still seeing them and able to chat with them. That's actually quite nice, to be honest. And of course, when we're walking around here, there's a lot of people that we know because of Watson. What is your favourite thing about lockdown? My favourite thing about lockdown is having Kev and Watson home all the time. That's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because Watson obviously is missing his pack that he normally goes on lovely long walks with. They go on adventures, and he likes just being in a pack of other dogs, you know, and that's not something we can provide, certainly not at the moment. But I love the fact that he's home, that anytime I want to see Watson, he's here, and that Kev's home, and we're stopping and chatting to each other. You know, I'm often in here either editing or doing stuff on my grooming course or filming, and he's in his office, and when he's not on the phone, we stop and have a coffee and a quick chat, and that's really, really nice. And also, of course, at weekends, he's here all weekend. That's probably his least favourite thing, because he's missing his golf. What's your least favourite thing about lockdown? My least favourite thing is, number one, that the vets aren't seeing anything other than emergencies, because that has just been so stressful. Watson has been ill for a long time, and he was due to go and have, the next step in his kind of health was to go and have tummy biopsies to find out if he has irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disease. And he also was due a tumour check. He's had cancer, he's beaten cancer, but he has to go every 3 months to check him all over, check if his lymph nodes are enlarged, etc. And so both of those things were cancelled. We don't have the cancer check, and we don't have the biopsies, and he's got very ill, particularly in the last few days. Ironically, him getting really ill in the last few days has been a blessing in disguise, because it's meant that he became an emergency, and so was seen by the vet, not yesterday, the day before, and then booked in for x-rays and ultrasounds yesterday, and we've got a new treatment plan, and you know, it's actually worked out good, like I said. But that's my least favourite thing, that the vets are not open. And then also that that the walker isn't able to work because Watson just loves his days out with them, you know, and he loves going on walks with the other dogs, like I say. So that's my least favourite thing. What, if anything, are you worried about? For me, of course, I've got the usual worries that everybody has about my parents, particularly my mum. My two mums are on their own. One mum is in Hitchin and she's completely on her own. I mean, my sister is probably an hour away. I don't know how far it is from Peterborough to Hitchin, but she's there, but not close enough to go and do her shopping and whatnot. I don't think she would let her anyway. She's very, very independent. And so she's still going out and about, and she has COPD. So she's one of the ones that probably should be staying in. And then my mum, my Welsh mum is in, she's not in Wales anymore. I always forget this. I always go to say she's in Powys and she's not. She's in Cambridge. And she is completely on her own. And my other sister, her daughter is, again, I don't know how far it is, maybe now she's in Birmingham. So again, not close enough to do shopping for her and things, but she's going out. And I'm helping my dad. So far so good. Nobody's got ill and nobody's had any symptoms and that, but I guess they're who I'm worried about. And of course, Watson. Watson is my number one worry just because he's so poorly and he has so many things that need kind of regular vet visits and lots of medication that I'm having to do at home. So, and I had to really kind of beg for them to give me, for example, his allergy injection he gets once a month. I had to ask them, could they give it to me and could I do it at home? And they did eventually agree because I'd done his immunotherapy injections before. So at least we've got his injection because his life is terrible if his allergies flare up, you know. Who are your unsung heroes? And I say this because I was saying to Kev that I'm so thankful that people in supermarkets are working. Now he was saying, you know, if supermarkets should be something that he thinks if everybody was off sick, there'd be other people that are currently on furlough that would be able to fill in those positions, you know, and that would want to work, which may be the case, but I just think they're the people that I'm so glad that they're there and that, you know, even though we're having to queue and whatnot, I haven't queued for too long at the checkouts and the food's being stacked on the shelves and we're still able to get food. Because remember that big panic at the beginning of the lockdown where there was no toilet roll and there was no hand wash and the shelves were just empty of lots of really random things. And so I'm just so glad that people are working and things are a bit more normal in that respect. And I also think that the bin men are amazing because I would hate to live somewhere where there was rubbish everywhere, you know, and they're still working. And also delivery drivers, because online shopping has been my saviour. You know, there's a lot of things that we get from Watson online from Amazon, and so I'm really grateful to them. Do you know anybody with the virus? We know somebody that had the virus, and it was kind of scary because it was Kev's friend, and he's a GP, and Kev had played golf with him a couple of weeks before he found out he had the virus. But when he actually spoke to him, he said, no, you can't have had it because the period had gone past where Kev would have been showing symptoms, if that made sense. So it was all fine and he got over it, no problem at all, but he said it was horrendous. You know, he felt horrendous, but he's over it and back to work. I don't know anybody else with it. I don't know anybody else with symptoms. And it's when I was speaking to the vet, you can't actually go into the vet. It's really odd. I have to like go to the car park, then phone them, then they come out into the car park and you sort of throw the lead to them and then they change it for their own lead and it's just all very odd. And you can't speak to them in the car park. They phone, you know, you have a conversation in the car about what's happening and you pay over the phone so that there's no conversation exchanged in the car park. And she was saying, like, it's just bizarre. She said, because she doesn't know anybody with the virus. And she said, she's just sort of looking, going, where is this blooming virus? You know, it's invisible. And you're like, where is it hiding? You know, that's what it's doing, isn't it? Are you wearing a mask and gloves? I thought this was an interesting one because myself and my best friend have spoke a lot about this because we'll ask each other, you know, she's like, are you wiping down your shopping? And I'm asking, are you wearing gloves? And when are you taking them off? Now, we both started wearing gloves when we were going to the shops at first, but it just got so complicated as to when you should take them off because it was when I was coming out of the shop, I was like, okay, so if I've had gloves on whilst handling the shopping, how do I then get the keys out and open the car? Do I take the gloves off, use my key, open the car door, then put my gloves back on, put the shopping back in, take my gloves off so that I'm not touching my steering wheel with whatever I've touched the bags with? It's just kind of impossible to do. And so I've stopped wearing gloves. I just thought that it just wasn't working for me. It just wasn't making any sense for me. As for about wearing a mask, I haven't been wearing a mask now. I always knew that masks did not protect you. You know, they protect other people. And I wasn't about to cough on somebody, and I wasn't getting close enough to anybody. So I didn't, you know, there didn't seem to be a need. But now Nicola Sturgeon for Scotland has said that she recommends wearing face masks in supermarkets and on public transport. Well, I'm not using public transport, but in supermarkets I may well wear. I've actually got 2 masks that I use for grooming, so I can use those. Kev has got a kind of, I think it's called a buff, you know, one of these scarves that you can pull up. And I've made 2 masks for my dad and Eve. Although I don't think, I'm going to say to my dad that I'm not necessarily sure he has to wear one or should wear one, because she's deaf and she lip reads. So of course, if he's got a mask on, my concern is he'll go to remove it. He won't remove it from his ears. I know he won't. And he's also a smoker, so we'll be removing it to smoke. There's almost no point in him wearing it, because they say if you then touch your face and take the mask off, you're at more risk. So I think I'll say to him, you know, I don't think you should bother. Eve can wear it because she can talk and you can hear her. She needs to see your lips, and at some point you'll be pulling it down, you know. So no, I haven't been, but I may do going forward. I said, are you eating or drinking more, and are you exercising less or more? I am exercising less in a way, because I was doing Pilates videos at home and going to the gym before lockdown, and I had intended to carry on the Pilates videos, but I'm walking Watson, so I'm going for a good hour's walk, hour and a half sometimes, which is kind of buggering my knees. But in that sense, I'm doing more because I'm walking more, but I'm not doing any vigorous exercise, and I'm not doing any strength exercise because I just haven't had time to do any of the Pilates videos. And I suppose really it's I haven't prioritised that, because I could have done less YouTube videos and you know, done more exercise. But like I said, I'm walking Watson, I'm doing our shopping, I'm doing more cooking, I'm doing my dad's shopping, and I've got a lot of birthdays going on at the moment as well. It's Kev's birthday tomorrow, it's my dad's birthday on Sunday, so I've made him some. The present I bought him is actually a hamper of really nice foods. I went to Waitrose and did lots of shopping there and got lots of nice things for him. So I've got him a hamper, and I also got him a Just Eat voucher, because they're still delivering, and I know he likes a takeaway. And normally we would have him over for dinner, you know, but obviously we're not going to do that. And then it's my mum's birthday on the Wednesday. It's one mum's birthday on the Wednesday, and then my other mum's birthday the following week. So a lot of birthdays, a lot of stuff to do. So I'm exercising less, but I'm still getting my walking in, which walking is really good for you anyway, isn't it? Am I eating and drinking more? Definitely. But I've been drinking more this week. Alcohol I'm talking about, just because Watson's been so poorly. And yesterday he was in the vets all day, and I was doing spreadsheets to try and figure out which prescription food he'd had and what he could eat and when he'd had what he'd had, you know. And it's constantly on the phone. I had an hour consultation with one vet, another hour consultation with another vet, and, you know, then researching into the conditions and tests that they were talking about. It was so stressful. But yeah, I am. Am I eating more? No, probably not. Other than I'll have some snacks with drinking, but that's something I, you know, do anyway. But I know a lot of people are saying they're eating more, but then other people have taken this as kind of an opportunity to lose weight and get fit, which I really admire in people, you know. What have you learnt from lockdown, and what changes will you make? For me, I don't know whether I'll make any changes, but I've learnt that I really enjoy Kev being home. I suppose I kind of knew that, but at the beginning, a lot of people I knew were saying, oh, are you guys bickering? And I was like, no, not at all. You know, we haven't been bickering. And I suppose we always said this about us as a couple. We sort of excel in a crisis, you know, at times where one or the other has been in hospital, is when we have the best laugh, actually, is when things go wrong. There's so many situations that have gone wrong, and we have such a laugh about it. And that's been the case with this. I've learned how strong we are as a couple. And I've also learned how relaxed Watson can be. You know, he's way more relaxed than I thought he could be, with a lot less activity. But like I said, I don't think there's anything that I'll change. Maybe we'll send him for less walks with the walker, you know, and give him more of a rest, and realise that he can just be a chilled out dog for some time, rather than him always needing activity, you know. I know for Kev, he said that he will be working from home more. He's realised how much he can get done when he's working from home. And so yeah, hopefully he'll still have a job. Actually, back to that question about what are you worried about, I didn't even say we're worried about Kev's job, because he's one of the directors of a house builder, so of course nobody's buying houses, and they've closed down a couple of sites already. As directors, they agreed to take a large pay cut, but they put all their staff on furlough on full pay, which I think was really admirable, you know, but also very worrying for us because we're losing a chunk of money every month, which at the moment isn't too bad because we're not paying the walker, but like I said, his job isn't exactly stable, because he can already see a way that they could restructure the company by combining 2 offices and, you know, getting rid of a whole load of directors, and that his equivalent has been there longer. So yeah, we are worried about his job. And finally, what's the first thing you'll do post lockdown? Wow, I'm sure everybody will be the same in that there's not just one thing. And post-lockdown as well, it depends on how it works, because I was supposed to meet my friend for lunch, and I just love our lunches. We meet normally once a month. I go up to Edinburgh early and do some shopping, then we meet for lunch, then we go and have some cocktails. So I would really like to book that, you know, and meet her and catch up, because we haven't caught up for ages. But I don't know whether restaurants are going to be open. I don't know whether even social distancing will still be in, and whether we'll need to find an alternative, but that's something I'd like to do. Just a wander around the shops, you know, would be nice, because I've been in Boots a couple of times, but I just it hasn't felt right to look at makeup or to look at toiletries and things that are new, you know, it's not right, is it? So just to wander around the shops would be nice. And of course I'll book Watson in immediately for his cancer check and for his biopsies and whatnot. The first thing that Kev will do is go and play golf. I guarantee it. At the minute that his golf club is open, he will go and play golf, even if it's on his own. The minute that driving range is open, he will go to the driving range. That's the first thing that he'll be doing. And I would also like to meet up with Watson's girlfriend so that he can have a play date, because they miss each other. That's everything for my questions. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. So just answer any of the questions that you want to in the comments below. I would really like to know, like I said, you guys' situations. And if you're a YouTuber, of course, do a video. But yeah, if not, just answer some of the questions in the comments. That would be lovely. Quite a different video, but like I said, one that I didn't have to prepare for, because I want to do the vitamin C video, the ordinary vitamin C's, and I've got lots of questions from you guys that need a lot of research. You know, I need to make sure that I am giving you the right information. So although I'll read it and I think of an answer, I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right up-to-date answer. So I've got to film that one for you. I also want to do my favourite SPFs, so I'm currently trialling different SPFs, waiting for them to arrive, putting them on, filming me putting them on, that kind of thing. There's a lot of preparation, so I don't know how long it will be before another video's up, but I am working in the background on videos. So let me tell you what I've got on makeup wise. I've got on the Hourglass Stick Foundation. I've wanted to try this for a long time, and it was on my list to buy when I met my friend in Edinburgh. But of course that didn't happen, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to have to choose a colour online and risk it. So I got the colour Shell. That's what I've got on today. This is the second day I've worn it, and I think I really like it. It's never going to be one that I would wear every day because it's too blooming expensive, but it is really nice, and it did seem to last okay on me. On my eyes is the Natasha Denona Love palette. I don't love it, but I'm trying to use it and make sure I use every colour so I can really say I gave it a good try, you know. On my lips is, do you know, I need some lip gloss on top of this, but I've got on Suva liquid lipstick in Awakening, and on my cheeks is the NARS blush in Sin. That's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.